Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Paws in Pursuit podcast with your host, Summer Clark. So before I start rambling on at you guys, just want to say sorry for my voice. It probably sounds like I'm dying of the plague, and that's because I am. I have a cold, so my voice is not the nicest thing to listen to ever, but the show must go on and I must get these episodes recorded. So today's episode is going to be a slightly, shorter, don't know why it took me so long to think of that, episode than usual. I'm trying to contact future guests and get those guest episodes planned. But for now, I've had a lot of questions regarding agility shows, the format and layout of agility shows, and people wanting to know my favourite agility shows, my least favourite agility shows, shows I always make sure are planned in my calendar and shows I just avoid, if I avoid them. Not to cause any beef or anything here. And then, does the perfect agility show even exist? And what does that look like in my opinion? So yeah, I'm just going to discuss all things agility shows with you today for those of you who are interested. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what does the ideal agility show look like in your opinion? So the ideal or perfect agility show, in my opinion, has modern courses, which I'm sure most of you can agree with. So this includes safe lines and distances between obstacles. So for example, at least 5 metres between obstacles, but to be fair, I prefer even more, if possible, because it allows the dog to open up and unleash its full speed potential, especially with dogs like Arrow who are nervous or were nervous and really need that confidence boost and to have fun and enjoy themselves on the course. So yeah, safe lines, that's distances, so nice big distances, ideally more than 5 metres in my personal opinion. And then safe lines is obvious stuff like entrances onto contact equipment, and not as much exits off, because you're meant to teach those exits, but you can't teach an entry. It has to be straight. Do you get what I mean? Like, really, for a dog walk. So nice, easy, straight entries onto contacts. That is really important. And yeah, just nothing that's sort of just dangerous, to be honest. Like I said, the safe lines is mainly for contacts, for me. But yeah, even jumps, you don't want things at really, really dodgy, awkward angles. You don't want lines that are meant to be straight and they're actually not, so the dog has to twist and turn, unnaturally to achieve it, and stuff like that could result in injury. So yeah, those are, modern courses have safe lines and distances between obstacles, so that is that. Also, modern courses require European handling. So I like a good course that requires me to showcase my handling skills, not just run around in the same direction with the dog on the same side as me. I like to be able to do things like catchers, you get your blinds in there, just stuff that makes it fun really, it's not that deep, but I just enjoy that. So I enjoy having to do catchers, blinds, front crosses, I really enjoy courses that make me run like hell to get a blind in, or test my rear crosses if I can't do that, but usually I do try and go for the blinds, as you've probably seen funny videos of me absolutely pegging it after Arrow. So yeah, I do enjoy having to, test my own handling skills, especially in the higher grades. Obviously, if you're in a class that's like 1 to 3, yeah, you probably don't want to have to do all those things. But for me, in my grade, 5 to 7, I do enjoy seeing courses with areas that I have to showcase my handling and really test that. It just makes all the things you practice at home and in training feel worth it. And it's nice to, proof that in the ring as well as just the home environment. So yeah, these things allow, so I already said safe lines and distances allow the dogs to open up. So yeah, that depends on ring size. Another thing about an ideal show is big rings, but I'll get onto that in a minute. So I also like courses, so when I say modern courses, that require handler fitness or strong verbals, or both. So I really like having, like I just said, having to absolutely sprint, challenging courses basically. So either you beat your dog down a really fast line because you're super fit, or you have a really strong verbal. So for example, a dog walk and then a round the back. I love stuff like that because again, it's just a test. Again, it depends on the grades, but this is for me, remember, and I have Ethel was grade 7 and Arrow is now grade 6, so I'm competing in those high grade classes. But I really do enjoy that. So yeah, really long straight run, and then say around the back, or you know, a pull off a tunnel or something where you have to beat them or shout from behind, and the dog have to really listen to what you're saying. So I love stuff like that. But again, that's again more for the higher grades. And then traps as well. So again, for the higher grades, but I do enjoy a good trap. It's really cool to test Arrow's skills and see whether he can listen to my verbals. You know, again, if I can get there to help him avoid traps and stuff like that. I think traps are really important. I remember with Ethel, I used to absolutely love trappy courses, purely because a lot of the really fast dogs went into the traps, but with Ethel, obviously she was steadier, so I could, you know, call her off the traps. So I always look for courses with those traps. But even now I do have a fast dog in Arrow, I still do like to see courses with some traps that I can really test. And again, that's how it should be in the high grades. You do want traps there. So moving on from modern courses, this kind of ties in, but grade appropriate courses. So like everything I've just said is mainly for the high grades that I'm in, but obviously you don't want a lot of those things in the low grades. You know, like 1 to 3, Arrow probably wouldn't have got as confident as he has if he had to do hard stuff when he was in the lower grades. So I think it's really important to not make your courses too difficult for lower grades as a judge. Another thing, little side note here, that got me thinking about doing this episode is that my judging course is coming up on the 20th and 21st of March. So excited, hopefully becoming a proper Kennel Club judge, so that's really exciting. But yeah, that got me thinking about shows and courses. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent and rambling again. But yeah, grade appropriate courses, you know, nice and simple, really encouraging the dogs to just open up and get confident in the ring for the lower grades, and then gradually getting harder as you go up the grades. And then, you know, grade 6, 7 and Champ should be hard. It should be quite hard, especially Champ. And it should have those things like traps, and you know, the need to use verbals and beat your dog places and stuff like that. So yeah, a show with courses that are modern and courses that are appropriate to the grades that they are set at. Those are in my ideal show, really. And then big rings, as I said earlier. Big rings just allow dogs to open up, require handler fitness or strong verbals, again for the high grades. And it also means that there is more of a chance for those safe distances between obstacles because there's more room for you to actually achieve that. But I do love big rings. Again, I'll get onto my favourite shows, but Iconics has huge rings and I absolutely love it. I love big open courses. Again, big rings just mean big open courses, which is what I would like to see at my, you know, if the perfect agility show existed for me, that would be what it had. And then equipment-wise, again, personal preference entirely, but you're interested, so I'm telling you, first contact or Gallican equipment. So again, equipment is more of an issue when you have a dog with previous nerves like Arrow. So first contact or Gallican equipment, you know, they're safe, they're high quality, and there aren't any issues, you know, like universal issues with lots of people's dogs around fear of certain obstacles, e.g. the seesaw. I know some equipment providers, unfortunately, their seesaw is heavier or made of a different material and it spooks some dogs. So I can't take Arrow over an Adam's seesaw because it spooks him. Well, I don't know if it... Well, I wouldn't know, actually, because I've never done it because people have told me to avoid it. But I know a lot of people whose dogs have been spooked by the Adam's seesaw because just because the way it's built, that's different to what they usually train on. You know, it makes more of a bang, it's heavier, whatever. I think one of the seesaws, I can't remember which one or whether it was Adam's, gets like, it goes to the dog goes to the top and it takes ages to go down, and that freaked a lot of dogs out. But anyway, I just won't take him over that because he's had issues, and knowing his past and his history, that is likely to make him nervous, and I do not want that to happen again. So yeah, my perfect agility show has first contact or Gallican equipment because I love both of those brands of equipment, just personally. And then my perfect agility show also has an even surface. This is super important. So for example, freshly cut grass. I remember I had to run Ethel at a few shows before in the summer where the grass is like up to her chest. And not just for her, because obviously that's like her wading through water. But I felt like I was wading through quicksand as well because it was up to my ankles. So yeah, I like an even surface, you know, like an even, not lumpy either, nicely cut grass. Or if it's indoors or on an equestrian surface, the sand is nice and even. Again, not really deep, just so it doesn't feel like you're running on, you know, so it's still soft, obviously, but it doesn't feel like you're running through quicksand, basically. You probably know what I'm on about. Again, these all probably make me sound like I'm being really picky, but you did ask what my perfect agility show looks like, so here it is. Well, I was going to say maybe it'll happen one day, but there are a few shows that I think already achieve all of this that I'll get onto in a minute. But I also love shows that have qualifiers and or finals. So my ideal show would have qualifiers for finals, say later on in the year, or finals at the actual event, at the actual show that day or weekend. So I love, you know, big shows with qualifiers or, you know, and or finals or semi-finals, just stuff like that. Again, it makes people more like to chase them. I love going to show thinking, you know, you've got a few normal runs and then you've got your big qualifier that you're going for. That's super exciting. And then obviously shows with champ finals in the evening. It is just way more of a vibe, way more exciting. And then trade stands, again, not necessary as far as the agility aspect goes, but I love a show with a good trade stand. So I can do a bit of shopping, you know, keeps me entertained between runs, can't go wrong. Trade stands, I love not just dog trade stands, but like handler fitness trade stands, clothing trade stands, like activewear trade stands. I love stuff like that. You know, you got like I think Agility World does like clothing and shoes, Solomon's for handlers, so I love stuff like that. And then a spatial car park. Again, it probably doesn't seem like that big a deal, but when you're day parking, and same goes for if you're camping, a big camping pitch, parking and camping, either or both ideally. Nice big open space where you're not like crammed in next to another vehicle. And, you know, you can open your doors and your boot and get your dog out, you know, comfortably without being like rubbing up against someone else. Yeah, so say for camping, you know, where your pitch isn't like half on top of someone else's pitch and stuff like that. And then a decently sized exercise area is always nice, because, you know, our dogs have 4 runs at a show. They're in the vehicle for most of that time, really, to be honest, so it's nice to have a nice open exercise area where you can take them for a walk or a run, and a toilet before and after runs, in between runs, over the lunch break, stuff like that. And it means there's probably going to be less, like, kerfuffles, if that's what you call it, between dogs. I know that's happened at some other shows. You know, people let dogs off lead and they have a bit of chaos between them, you know. Not necessarily like fights or whatever, just, you know, loads of dogs in one space can be a bit chaotic, so a nice big exercise area means, you know, that's less likely to happen, and everyone's got their own sort of an opportunity to have their own space to sort their dogs out and stuff like that. I'm also big on warming myself up, so I like doing that in somewhere where I'm not doing it like next to someone else, because I'll probably kick them while I'm swinging my legs and stuff. Again, I'm being very picky, but again, it's my perfect show. And then poo bins, like, it's the bare minimum really, isn't it, to have poo bins at a show? But yeah, my perfect show needs to have plenty of poo bins, because Arrow is one of those dogs that does about 7 poos a day for whatever reason. Most of them are in pure excitement, and there isn't a lot to it. But yeah, there's nothing worse than being at an event and, you know, even, well, training or anything, and your dog does poos and you've got like 3 poo bags at the end of the day, and there's nowhere to put them. So not only do you have to leave them at your vehicle all day long because there's no poo bin, so it reeks, especially when it's hot. No, not for me. But then you also have to take them home with you. So what I do is I like loop them round my windscreen wiper for my back windscreen on my car, or the tow bar of the van, depending what vehicle we're going in. And they just stay there for the journey home. And I'm like, well, what if one comes off and shoots into someone's windscreen? The car behind me just gets a windscreen full of this exploded poo bag because I'm having to trail it on the back of my vehicle. But yeah, poo bin's really important. It's an agility show. It's for dogs. There's going to be lots of dog poos. Have lots of poo bins. Not just one either, like plenty. So yeah, that pretty much is my perfect agility show. So next is, what is your favourite agility show? So again, there's more than one, so I'll go through some of them, but my very favourite show probably has to be Iconics. Like I said, it's at Dallas Polo Club is my favourite venue for that, because the rings are big, It's just great. You know, the courses are modern and grade appropriate from my experience. The rings are huge. I love it. It uses first contact equipment, which is one of my faves. It's an even surface. It's perfectly surfaced. And it has lots of qualifiers and finals, which makes it extremely exciting, especially, you know, the by-night finals, when it's several days. And I know they're introducing team finals coming up this year, which is super exciting. So you've got that as well. There's lots of trade stands. But again, it's not loads of trade stands, but there's just the right amount. You know, you've got some food bits, you've got some dog bits, and then you've got a clothing bit. So there's not tons, but it is there. And they're useful as well. And then there's obviously poo bins, which is great. So yeah, Iconics is my favourite show, specifically at that venue. If you don't know Dallas Polo Club, Dallas Burton, I think it is, it's where the night one, the by night show is held, because I know they hold it at a few different venues throughout the year. I can't remember where the other one was. I think I went to an Iconics that was indoors, and it was the 0 Degrees one, and it was where the old British Champs was held, but I can't remember the name of it, but you probably know what I mean. And then obviously KCI and Dogs in Need, they are my two other absolute favourite shows. Another thing that I didn't mention in my Perfect Agility show, but I really enjoy in KCI and Dogs in Need, is because there's like a million rings, each ring has a different judge, obviously, and so you get a variety of judges, which means you get a variety of courses. So it's really nice to just have, you know, as long as they're all safe, grade appropriate courses, then it's nice to have that variety of judges and courses. You know, it keeps it interesting, especially when, like, KCR's 4 days long, Dogs in Need is like 9, stuff like that. So I find that really good. And then obviously they also have first contact equipment. They do lots of qualifiers, loads of qualifiers. So I actually qualified at Dogs in Need for an agility club final with Arrow. But I knew it was a qualifier, but because I was like, oh, this is just training his contacts, because I'd only just started doing agility classes with him, I didn't think much of it. Anyway, I won, qualified, and then I'm not an agility club member, so I can't do it. But anyway, my point, I just remembered that off the top of my head. You probably don't really care about that, but that did happen. But yeah, I love shows with loads of finals and qualifiers, and KCI and Dogs in Need have all of those. I did the Novice Cup semi-final with Arrow at KCI, after obviously the heats in the morning on the first day. And I love shows that are several days, because like the Thursday of KCI, you've got the Novice Cup and the Starters Cup. I didn't do the Novice Cup, scratch that, I did the Starters Cup, sorry, you know what I mean. So you've got those on the Thursday, then you've got something, Champ on the Friday, then more Champ on the Saturday, and then something else on the Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Like, each day is allocated a sort of thing, like a theme, so either Champ, Novice or Starters Cup, stuff like that, which is cool. And then and you've got singles on one of the days, that's the other one I'm thinking of. And then what else? Obviously there's loads of trade stands, like you can't get any more. I think the only show that beats the trade stands for KCI and Dogs Need is Crufts, and Crufts beats everything because it's literally just one big trade stand pretty much. So that doesn't really count, but yeah, trade stands, there's so many, and to be honest, it just feels like a holiday. Oh yeah, just quickly, they also have poo bins, and considering how big the show is, they do so well with poo bins. KCI and Dogs Need, the venue's huge, the show's huge, most people need a bike to get round Dogs in Need because it's that big, and yet they still manage to put poo bins all over the place, which is just good job, kudos to you. Yeah, so the entertainment as well at KCI and Dogs in Need, so you've got the disco, I know Thames also does a party, so I love shows with that, especially when I'm camping. It just makes you feel like a holiday. So you got the disco. Then I know at Dogs in Need you also had like bingo nights, other entertainment nights, stuff like that. It feels more like a holiday than just an agility show, which I absolutely love. It is literally, KCI and Dogs in Need is my yearly holiday. It is the highlight of my year. I love it so much. So those are my other two favourite shows. So yeah, my three favourite shows, Iconics, KCI and Dogs in Need. No particular order, I just love all three of those, and they are staples that I always make sure are in my calendar for the year. Again, Thames is another one I love. I don't always do it because it's quite far away, and it's only 2 days, so obviously it's just camping for one night, but I do love Thames as well for all those reasons. And then, what is your least favourite agility show? Now, I don't want to be too, like, brutal, or name names, but I did get a lot of people asking me this, so I'm going to say any show that uses equipment that is known for, you know, spooking dogs. So, like I said, Adams, I avoid. You know, any show with Adams equipment I have to avoid. Again, it's not a dig, it's just I don't want to risk it after what I've heard from others about, you know, experiences they've had with their dogs spooking over the equipment. So any show with that is my least favourite, because I don't do it, because I can't do it, because I don't want that issue. So technically, I suppose that is the answer to that question. And then shows with like really tiny rings, you know, really tiny venues that the dogs can't really open up properly, you know. And I'm not just talking normal size rings at like, you know, like not the rings don't have to be huge, but any shows with rings that are that small. And I've been to a few of them, and the courses are always really crammed in, just because that's all they can, you know, manage, which is through no fault of anyone's, but it just is how it is. I will tend to avoid those because it's just not as fun for either me or Arrow. It's probably more of a safety issue for a dog like Arrow and the way he runs. Again, it's each their own. These are all just purely my opinions. And then shows with uncut grass or uneven sand, you know, if I know a venue, and again, a lot of this is more the venue than the show. So the venue, it plays a massive part, you know, the venue makes the show. The venue is the show, basically. Do you know what I mean? Excuse me, what's going on? Right, so yeah, if venues have really uneven surfaces, or if, you know, the grass is really long, or the sand is like lumpy and stuff like that, again, often not just an enjoyment thing, but a safety thing with a dog like Arrow, who's so fast and he's quite clumsy anyway. So add a clumsy spaniel to a lumpy surface, then it's just not going to end well. So if you want more specifics, for example, I can't do agility vision because they use Adams equipment. Again, it's just an example of how it is for some people. Like, it's nothing against the show or anything. It's just, you know, my dogs had previous seesaw nerves. I've heard a lot of people saying that their dogs who didn't even have any nerves have gone over Adams equipment on the seesaw and got nervous. So yeah, that's one that I used to do with Ethel, agility vision, and enjoyed it. And then I now have to not do it because now I'm just running Arrow, and he has, you know, that history that makes me not want to use the equipment. So yeah, that is pretty much everything. And like I said, we've only been 20 minutes. I know it's a shorter episode than normal, but I suppose sometimes it's nice. You're not getting me rambling for like an hour all the time. But yeah, I had a lot. I didn't expect people to be that interested in my opinion on shows and stuff, but you were, so I have provided. But anyway, yeah, that is the episode. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, it's all just opinion based. You know, it depends on what dog you've got, doesn't it? Most of the time. Yeah, but that's kind of how I think. The perfect agility show, does it exist? Nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Like I said, but those 3 shows I mentioned are very close to perfect for me. I love them so much, and I will always make an effort to go to them. But like I said, no show's perfect. There's still humans running it. Like, it is what it is. But I just want to give a shout out to every show organiser, because it can't be easy. It cannot be easy. And after talking to Neil Ellis about Iconics the other week, a lot of you probably watched, it's not easy. So, you know, nothing against any shows, because, you know, if you've gone and put on a show, whether that's with some friends or your club or whatever, then it's a huge thing to do. The planning, it sounds like it takes, is immense. So yeah, shout out to everyone who puts on a show, basically. Good job. We need more people like you. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I just love agility shows in general, to be honest. But yeah, I do have my faves, my least faves, and usually the least faves are more just of a sensible thing. There's nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. And obviously, if some shows swapped out equipment for like First Contact or Gallican, oh my god, what's wrong with me? I would go again. But yeah, stuff like that. So now you know. So yeah, I will speak to you all next Wednesday. Before I go, just quickly, if you could leave a review on the podcast, that would be majorly appreciated. Ideally 5 stars, but do what you feel. Keep sending me your feedback, good, the bad, everything in between. I love hearing it, and I take it all as constructive criticism. And if you have any more questions about what I've talked about today, please just DM me, or just reach out. I've had a few people say, "Oh, I've seen you at shows, but I'm too scared to come up to you." I didn't think I was scary, but please just come up to me. I'm always happy to talk to you guys. I'd love to, in fact. So yeah, come up to me, because I'm often in my own little world, in my own little bubble, not paying much attention. Probably, won't even notice people around me sometimes. Unfortunately. So yeah, just come up to me, keep asking me lots of questions, and keep sending me ideas for future episodes as well. I'm always on the lookout, future guests you want me to have on, and stuff like that. So I'm always open to all of your feedback and communication. And then lastly, please follow me on all of the socials. I'm active on all of them every single day. I will put them here on the YouTube video and down below on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Forgot what they were called then. And I hope you didn't hate my congested voice too much today. And you will come back next Wednesday at 8 PM. So, yeah, I will talk to you all then, guys. Bye.